Hello, hello, hello. This is HQ Jones, your DVD and Blu-ray ball on a budget, and welcome to HQ Videos. Before I start, if you have not hit the subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Hit subscribe. I have a goal for 2020 to hit 1,000 subscribers, so anything you can do to help me out will be greatly appreciated. Thumbs up, share, like, whatever. I greatly appreciate it. But I want to go over my Kino Lorber collection, the Blu-ray as well as 3D. Let me jump on into it with the Sixth Man. Starting Marlon Wayans and Kadeem Hardison. This is a comedy basically about two brothers who play basketball and one passes away. I can't say it's a hilarious comedy, but it is unique, I'll put it that way. So this is Marlon Wayans, Kadeem Hardison, The Sixth Man. Next, we have Chris Elliott and Cabin Boy. If you're not familiar with Chris Elliott, he had a show, I believe, back in the 80s, where he was a paper boy living out of his family's house. Very strange, very offbeat type of humor, but that is Chris Elliott. And hold on while I get this open. Give me a second. What's nice about this, it has the cover art as well as the flip art for Cabin Boy. You have the slip cover, very nice slip cover, as well as a Kino Lorber book with some of their selections, as well as an additional book that just kind of goes over some details of the movie. So I do like this particular Kino Lorber Cabin Boy Blu-ray. Next we have Cadillac Man with the late Robin Williams and Tim Robbins. Great comedy. If you're a salesperson, this is one of the movies you're probably required to watch. Cadillac Man, along with Boiler Room and Glen Ross, I believe. Cadillac Man. Next, to have Damon Wayans, Daniel Stern, and Dan Aykroyd in Celtic Pride, where you have these two Boston Celtic fanatics who actually kidnapped Damon Wayans, who is one of the top basketball players of the opposing team to the Boston Celtics. Very funny comedy. Doesn't get a lot of attention for some reason though, but I definitely enjoyed the Celtic Pride. Next we have Harvey Keitel, Stephen Dorff, and Timothy Hutton, and the City of Industry gangster flick. I think this is kind of Harvey Keitel at his best. And what's nice about this also, if I can get it out, you have the Kino Lorber booklet with the other selections in there, and you have the back cover art, if I can get that out. You have the front, then you have the back. City of Industry. Next, you have a movie that really freaked me out as a kid, The Day After. This deals with a nuclear holocaust that happens in the U.S. and the ramifications afterwards, or the fallout afterwards of the fallout of the nuclear blast. I think for probably a good week I didn't sleep well. It's just that disturbing. And what's cool about this edition, one, you have the theatrical cut, which I'm sure I've seen. No, the television cut, which I'm sure I've seen. Then the theatrical cut, which I don't believe I've seen yet. And along with this, you have the flip art, then the cover art, The Day After. Next we have Lou Diamond Phillips and The First Power. Some of a suspense thriller along the same lines of Silence of the Lambs, that type of picture. What's interesting about this, though, most of the Kino Lorbers, if you notice, they all have a unified look, but for some reason, this one decided to be the rebel for some reason. And also, even with the cover art, usually with cover art, you have the basic KO Studio Classic, but this one decided to actually have some art on it. And if I can get this out, you have the flip side to the cover art. First Power. Next you have Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy, I believe, in FX. And this is very 80s type of movie. It's about this guy who is a special effects artist, and he's working with the FBI to solve a crime. Very different type of suspense thriller, FX. And it did so well they actually made a sequel to it, FX2. And they were able to retain the same two major stars. And unfortunately, there's no inside art, just your basic KO Studio Classic Blu-ray cover, FX2. Next we have Gunshy, Liam Neeson, Oliver Pratt, and Sandra Bullock. One thing I do like about Liam Neeson, he doesn't seem to take himself too seriously. He's actually playing some of a comedic role, kind of a gangster with issues. Kind of a more psychotic soprano. Very interesting. Gunshy. Next we have The Inkwell with Lorenz Tate and a very young Jada Pinkett before she was Jada Pinkett Smith. The Inkwell. And it's kind of a different coming of age story. And you have the classic KO cover art on the disc, The Inkwell. Next we have It's Pat, Julia Sweeney from, I believe, the 80s, maybe early 90s, Saturday Night Live. The premise of this is Pat, you really don't know what gender Pat is, and pretty much the whole movie or the whole spiel about Pat is trying to determine what Pat's gender is. It's Pat. Next we have Shaquille O'Neal in one of his first movies, either this or Steel. I believe this was his first movie, I'm not positive. Kazam. Wasn't a horrible movie, it's just not a really good movie. And believe it or not, it's not Shaq that really tanks the movie. It's this kid right here. For some reason, to me, that kid is so unlikable in this movie, it really kind of tanks the movie. Plus, it doesn't hurt that Shaq raps really horrible in this movie. He's not a great rapper, but he can rap better than he did in this movie, though. Kazam. Next, we have Ed Harris, Max von Sydow, I'm not sure, and Bonnie Bedelia, and Needful Things. This is based on a Stephen King short. I like this a lot. I like this movie a lot. Needful Things. Next, I just actually picked this up, I think last week in Largo at a pawn shop for $3. I had to pick it up. Kino Lorber, even on sale, you can get them maybe $8 on sale for $3. I couldn't pass it up. Plus this Ray Milland Gene Hagen and Frankie Avalon in Panic in Year Zero. And I like the little tag, an orgy of looting and lust, a day when civilization came to an end. Just that's enough. I had to get that just on that tag. Panic in Year Zero. Next, something that I'll be watching very soon. If not, I might be watching next month for Black History Month. I like to do maybe a show on black exploitation films. So this is a classic, Paul Winfield and Robert Hooks in Trouble Man. One cat who plays like an army. You gotta love that. And the disc, Trouble Man. Next we have The Woman in Red, Gene Wilder, Charles Grodin, and Gilda Radner. Funny enough, they didn't even mention Kelly LeBrock in the intros. Even though I think she may have one or two speaking lines in the movie, the majority of the movie, Gene Wilder's chasing her around. It's funny, Gene Wilder was actually married to Gilda Radner one time before she passed. And Gilda Radner was one of the original cast of Saturday Night Live. One of her more notable characters is Rosanna Dana. And with this, you have the Studio Classic distribution list, not a full list, just some of their titles. Woman in Red. Now I'm going to go into my Kino Lorber 3D movies. And I haven't seen any of these as of yet. Just kind of getting in the mood. This is cheesy black and white 3D ape movie. Ape. See defy the jaws of a giant shark, destroy a teeming city, demolished an ocean liner, and vanquish monster reptile. So that's Ape in 3D. Now I did check it out. 3D is actually pretty good. Storyline is probably cheesy as hell, but the 3D is actually pretty decent for black and white. Next I have Richard Carlson and Veronica Hurst in The Maze. Haven't seen this yet. Another black and white 3D classic. And this has the alternate cover art. The cover. And the other side, I love when they do the dual-sided cover art. The Maze. Another cheesy 3D movie, The Mask. Psychotronic classic, newly restored in 3D. Done in electromagic sound. The Mask. That looks like a fun watch. Just looking at that right there. And we got a Kino Lorber book. And a little different artwork, not the classic Kino Lorber, it's the Kino Classic 3D Film Archive. So they're a little bit more creative with their disc art. A shark movie, Joanne Drew, Mark Stevens, and September Storm. And this one's actually in color. And again, a little more creative with the disc art. September Storm. Next we have The Stewardess. This kind of seems like one of those 60s kind of free love type of movies. The Stewardess. The Stewardesses in 3D. Next, we have those redheads from Seattle. This is Rhonda Fleming, Gene Barry, Agnes Moorehead, Guy Mitchell, the Bell Sisters. I've heard the Bell Sisters. This one has the classic Kino Lorber cover art with another Kino classic booklet. Those Redheads from Seattle in 3 dimensions. Next I have The Bubble in Space Vision. That's the back. And again, a little bit more creative with the cover art or the disc art with The Bubble and Space Vision. And lastly, I have Ceasefire, Hal B. Wallace, produced, photographed entirely on the battlefields of Korea. So that looked pretty interesting. Again, some black and white, but the 3D is really not bad. It's kind of off the chain. Ceasefire. And this is my Kino Lorber Blu-ray and 3D collection. So if you guys like it, please give me the big thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any comments, if there's any kind of videos you'd like to see, please let me know. I'd love to have any suggestions. Other than that, may the best of your past be the worst of your future. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. If not, give me the big thumbs up. Other than that, peace.